Welcome to another episode of the Nashville Dads. This week we have a musician, Vinnie Paolizzi. We talk about having kids during the pandemic, growing up in Pennsylvania and going to Cape May, challenges of making music, coming from a big family, and how much we both love Jackson Browne's music. We really hope you enjoy the episode. Because I personally, I hate all the, here's the, like all the BuzzFeed articles, like here's the 20 best ways to be a dad. And I'm like, cool. I'm going to like read through this and I'm going to justify myself. I'm not coming into this article with humility. I'm coming into this article being like, how dare you tell me I'm not already a good dad, which is just all ego and not good.
Yeah. Or the constant fear of not doing enough or doing too much. I feel like our baby's only 7 months old, but yeah, you know, this fall was my first time going back on the road and playing some shows, and it was not a lot. I mean, I think I played 15 shows, like not months of touring. It was a couple weekends. But man, you're like, what if she does say a word for the first time when you're not there, and then you're that, and then but I didn't leave her side for 6 months. So a lot of dads don't get that time. You know, if you're going 9 to 5 and you're home at 6 and your baby goes to bed at 7 every day, you know, you're not getting that time. So it's never enough. Like, you're never going to do enough or whatever, but like the balance of trying to figure out trying to make the time you are home as present as possible is something that I've tried to learn from other dads. You know, I'm 30. I feel like I'm right in the middle of all my friends. Like, either my friends started having kids at 25 or they're not going to until like 35.
Yep.
Which I thought my wife and I's relationship, we've been together 5 and almost 6 years, was both of us were trying as hard as we could not to get in relationships. We were just vibing, doing our things. And I was like going on this road trip. She lived in a different city. We randomly met in Nashville. I was going on this road trip that I was going to, you know, find whatever, something I was looking for. And I was like, hey, can I take you to dinner in a month? I'm going to be going through your town, whatever. And she was like, I guess. And that was our first date. You know what I mean? Like, that was
Romance.
It. Yeah. And then the way back, I was like, hey, can I take you to dinner again? And she was like, yeah, sure. And that was our second date, you know? And, not that, I mean, it's a little more complicated than that, but I love her very much. I'm very grateful for it. But I all of the steps to lead us to, like, when we got married, we, like, a month later, this house we really wanted came on the market. We looked at it one time, put an offer in, and got it 24 hours later. Like, we didn't think about owning a home really before that. We just saw this place. We're like, sweet,
looks good,
you know. And then a couple months later, we had, you know, this whole plan. We're gonna wait to have kids till this time because it was gonna be good for, you know, I was gonna put out this record and blah blah. And then we both looked at each other at one point. She was kind of like, do you feel like we need to wait? Like, do you feel like we should be waiting for something, or is there some kind of sign? And I was kind of like, I don't know. I feel kind of ready if you feel ready. And a month later, she was pregnant. So it was like, it's all like, it's not like, you know, the universe this, universe that, but like, I feel like the only way for me to figure out how to be a better dad or husband or is like talking to people like you that are, you know, doing it all at the same time. I mean, like, talking to your parents and stuff is great too, but our parents didn't have like the exact situation that we are living in right now. I mean, you were you said 8, 6, and 3. Yeah. So you had 3 kids, or almost 3 kids during, you know, COVID, trying to like I talk about entertaining them. I mean, impossible. And not that like our parents loved us, but they could have without daycare or mother-in-laws, whatever. There was no chance. Yeah. I mean, they would have done it, but trying to talk to them about trying to get through that would have been like crazy. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. No, when the pandemic hit, or whenever lockdown happened, we had let's see, how old were they? 2020. So I would think we've had a 3 and we had a 4 and a 2-year-old. So yeah. And then like, at the end of 2020, we got pregnant with our 3rd kid. So
wow, that is wild.
I always explain to people of like, I think as a stay-at-home parent, As
Yep.
once again, though, extremely lucky to be in a situation which I can stay home. Like
Hmm.
whenever we had kids, I worked for a while. And then when we had the second kid, after a year of it, it was like, this is not financially worth it.
Yeah.
And like our stress level is so high. So very lucky that I'm able to stay home at all. But that's to say that like to explain to people that like whenever you're a stay-at-home parent and it's a pandemic, all of your release valves were gone. Like I couldn't go to a record store. I couldn't go to a show. I couldn't go to a soccer game. Like I couldn't do anything. So it was like constantly. And then like my wife would work from home because she was able to work from home, but she'd be doing it behind a wall, like behind a door while hearing us outside of the wall the entire day.
Yeah.
And so like there's just so much pressure cooker like stuff where it's like I can only go on so many walks like to
No.
relieve
Yeah.
stress.
That's not
Like
it. Yeah.
that's that I need like, and I'm a massive extroverted person. So like to be like, all right, cool, you can talk to people from about 10 feet away. Why? Well, what if we get each other sick and kill each other? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right, that sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. What a wild. Yeah. I didn't mean to bring up the big C.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was just
Yeah.
I was trying to give us an example of something that only you and I, like only
Yes.
people in our world can, and even
Our bracket range. Yeah.
yeah, and it's not just age either, just where you live and kind of where you are, and um all that to say, I'm really grateful for the perspective that my parents have given me, and the people in my life that are raising kids now. I think that I think being able to like have those resources is something that I'm more and more grateful for the older that she gets, because
Yeah.
you just don't know. I mean, you can read an article that tells you every single thing is normal and every single thing is not normal on anytime you want. You can look up
Pretty
like
much.
babythis.com and everything, the world is crashing down or it's totally fine. You know.
I always love to discuss or like just bring up with people like their birthing plans. I love like the whole concept of writing your birth plan, because our first kid was a 26-hour labor and like probably like 20 minutes away from an emergency C-section. So like what was our birth? And it started with my wife's water breaking. So like whenever you're in the hospital and like, what's your birth plan? And you just sit there and you're like, I don't actually know anymore. So like that was sadly it was a good introduction to parenthood, because it is like, what do you think will happen? It's like, all I need to know is how to be nice and kind to people and how to control my gut reaction to things so I'm not too mean and I don't lash out at people. That's the rest of my life as a parent. You have your gut reaction. You have to analyze if it's nice or if you're just there to hurt people and destroy people, and try not to choose that option is sadly what parenting feels like sometimes.
No, I understand that. I feel like the patience factor is it's taught me a lot, and not like she's 7 months old. She's not like she's like angered me in any like truly awful way or anything, but and I mean my wife does a lot. She has not been sleeping amazing, and my wife has been. If I was sleeping as little as my wife, I would be a terror. I would be more of a pain than the baby not sleeping. And to her credit, she has been, very tough through the whole thing. But none of our birth plan really went the way we wanted to. But we did do one thing, and for dads that are in Nashville, like I think it's $50. You can take this class at the Vanderbilt Birth Center. I think that's one that we took. I didn't know that it was. I shouldn't say I didn't know. I wasn't sure how like common it was to take a class like that, or even for a dad to be like in that environment. And it truly taught us so much. And the woman who taught the class, she did like an amazing job. It was only like 8 people in the class. It was their smallest class ever. And I will say the best thing that it did, speaking to your point, is it was basically an if that, then this. If this is what's happening now, then this is probably what's happening next. And this is if this is what's going on. And it was all the way through the first year of their life. Like the teaching was all about through the first year. So even, birth plan didn't go quite right. The midwife and the doula we were supposed to have had 103 fever and couldn't go. So like that was the first thing that happened, and then there was like it's a long story, but that's
just a lot.
like 20 things just like that, and then everything she got here, a baby got here, everything was,
everyone's alive, everyone's healthy, all
Yeah.
good.
But that being said, I mean, we were disappointed about certain things and happy
Yep.
about other things, and all that, stuff that happens.
Yep.
But the knowledge that if you see certain things, this is probably what's happening next was very
Yeah.
comforting for me, and I think still helps me. Like you were saying, you have the reaction to something, and then your thinking brain just for that split second takes control a little bit easier.
Yep.
It's almost, yeah. I wish I was more eloquent in a way to say that, but that
You're good. No, it's
that
like
is what came out of my mouth.
I will always tell people to get a doula or look into doulas because I don't know for you, but like the whole birthing process was the first time I might have had a say in my wife's like medical like decisions.
Yeah.
Where like someone like a doctor walks in the room and is like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, I don't know why would I know what to do?
Yeah.
And then my wife is like, "I think I want to do this." So like in my opinion, a doula is someone like I'm very big on like, yeah, you walk into a room where your wife is giving birth and you're like, what's normal? Like, how is this supposed to work? I have no idea. And
No
then a
idea.
doctor says, what should we do next? And you're like, I don't know what should, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But if I say I don't know, then like my wife is trying to birth a child. You
Yeah.
can't just walk into a room and say, I don't know what to do, even though you don't know what to do.
Yeah. 100%. And it made me feel a lot more involved, I guess, or connected to the process. Whereas if I was just if my wife had done a bunch of classes without me and or gone to all her doctor's appointments without me or all that kind of stuff, I might just be like showing up like acting, like I didn't know what was going on because I truly didn't know what was going on. But the first birth video you watch is a little jarring.
Just a bit.
I will say it's a little jarring.
Yep.
After that, it all it all kind of gets a little realer and
what's
cool.
I think our midwife, we delivered all three of our kids at Vandy midwife also. And whenever it goes under the pelvic bone, they always use the phrase like a puppy going under a fence. And that's what, and like watching your kid come out, like going under the pelvic bone, I'm like, that does look like a puppy. Oh God, it's my child.
Yeah. What was the, like your first, when you guys brought her home?
Her daughter, son. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. When you brought her home, did you have family right away or did you wait a bit?
So let me try to remember. I think I got 2 weeks off. So we waited a bit before we had people help out.
Same.
Definitely people were like, for the first one, we didn't know that it would take 26 hours to go into labor. So we just told everyone like, hey, we're like Heather's water broke. We're going to the hospital.
Yeah.
So like for that weekend, a lot of people were in the hospital, like in the wing waiting for us, which is a weird pressure to put on someone in labor
100%.
and a lot of things to figure out of like, oh, they're really excited to meet their grandkid. When is that grandkid coming? We don't know.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Do I worry about that? Does that factor into my head at all? No, it shouldn't. Does a little bit? Of course it does. I feel like first kid we were in the hospital for a good 48 hours or so.
Same.
And then people came and visited us there. And then I don't remember. I feel like we had trouble like latching, and then they were worried about our birth weight. And then since it was such a long, like labor and delivery, we had to go back to the hospital like 2 or 3 times, not because anything was wrong, just because they were worried about stuff.
Yeah.
And then we had like an awesome meal train where people brought stuff to us, but I don't feel like people or family came to our house until like week 4 or 5 or so.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We had family after I think 13 days maybe. We had a good like week or two just us, which was really nice. And we had people that like drop off food and stuff, but I always wonder because some people really want like that big, you know, like almost like a party. Like there's all these pictures of me when I came home that there's really like a part. Like my mom, I don't know how she did it. Like there's 30 people in your house and you're like just coming out of the most like intense experience of your life. Yeah.
I'm good.
It's crazy. So and it could be a cultural thing or whatever, but like I think that's that's awesome. But I was so grateful for that just little bit of time that was like just the three of us. You know what I mean?
Okay, here's a question for you. Whenever you're experiencing something new, do you like to have an opportunity to try it out before other people get involved? Because I'm that way.
Oh,
Like if something
interesting.
is brand new to me, I'm like, all right, just give me a minute to figure out what's happening here. And then whenever other people show up, I feel like I should know what's happening. Like
Mm.
especially something as like fragile as a child. Because I feel like when you have a newborn, everyone's like, "What's your baby like?" And you're like, "She's a day old. I have no idea." Like
Yeah, I have no
I
idea.
don't know. So then I'm almost like, oh, I should
Yeah.
learn her personalities. Cause that way, when people ask me, how is she? I'm not so much just like, I don't know, she's a baby.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know how to say that politely whenever I don't have
Right.
sleep.
No, 100%. I was grateful that we got to get a little bit of sleep and
Hmm.
get like a little bit of a rhythm down and like learn how many hours do they sleep at a time, because it's not very many
Yep.
at a time.
It's not. Nope.
And um yeah, I was just grateful that we had a little bit of it, because my cause neither my wife or I's family live in Nashville, so they had to
Okay.
travel very far to come see us. So if they would have got there, like there's not much, like we'd have to be like, hey, you can come see her for like an hour, and then like
Yeah.
bye, like I
Yep.
um. Anyways, once they did come, they were so helpful. I mean,
Yeah.
cleaned our house, made our food. I mean, like did so many amazing things. My parents even uh they live in Philadelphia, or like Philadelphia area,
Okay.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Um and on our street in East Nashville, they built one of those like condo, like not, yeah, like condo-y things.
Yeah.
Um and they found this lady renting her place for super cheap, like a little studio apartment, and they rented it for a year to come.
Seriously?
So that's like their
That's
vacation
awesome.
for the year. Is they've
Yeah.
so they'll be here all next week, like
That's awesome.
first Halloween, going to see their grandkids,
Yeah.
and anyways, having them like literally on our street but not like in the house is what I'm getting
Big
to.
difference. Big
What
difference. Yep.
has been amazing, and
Yep.
when they're here, they're like so helpful, and we don't feel like we're on top of each other and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So, um, anyways, that's a very long answer to a
No,
non-question.
that's awesome. No, it's I think there's so many things when you have a kid where you do like there are moments like that in which your parents are like, because yeah, I'm from Southern Indiana, so it's like it was
Oh,
like
you're
a
from
2.5.
Indiana too?
Yeah, from Evansville, yeah.
Nice.
So it was like a 2.5 hour drive for them to get my parents to get there, and my
Yep.
wife's parents at the time lived in town. So, but like,
Nice.
there's so many different dynamics that come with that. Of like, all right, if they're in town, they want to be able to help, and you also need to be able to let them help because if they come over, they're there to help. So how do you? And I feel like in those moments, whenever you don't know like what's happening, control is usually like what
Yep.
you go towards. Like, what can I control in these moments? What can I not?
Yep.
And then whenever someone comes up and is like, "How do I help you?" It's like, well, I don't know. I don't even know. Like, I don't even know how to like. Am I doing like everything is so raw
Yep.
that it's almost like you want to help me. That's great. Food is probably the best thing to help me with because I probably shouldn't be thinking about food. I should be thinking about supporting my wife, supporting my kid, and all that
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And being in music and stuff, there's no like PTO, you know.
No,
So
there's
like,
not.
so like, I my parents were hugely helpful the few months afterwards. Like, just I had stuff I had to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes only for like 3 hours. I just needed to like not, because I like the days. I mean, I have 1 or 2 days a week that are called dad days, where I'm just like, yeah, I'm stay at home dad. I am
Yep.
full court press all day. And if when we have more, it'll probably be even more days. That you have to do
Yeah.
it. But
Mhm.
um, there's some weeks where that just doesn't. Like this week coming up, that my parents are coming. Like they are helping. They're doing me a huge solid by
Yeah.
um I didn't have to reschedule like a month's worth of stuff just
Yeah.
because
That's awesome.
they can come help for a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but my wife's family is from Indiana. That's why I
Oh,
was
really?
yeah.
Whoa, where are they from in Indiana?
They grew up, or she grew up a town called Fairmount. It's kind of
Okay.
halfway between Indy and Fort Wayne,
Okay.
up in
Yep.
that home of James
Evans.
Dean.
There you go. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Evansville is extremely southern Indiana,
yeah,
like basically Kentucky.
yep,
So it is like it's like any state, like southern Indiana, northern Indiana. It's different. It's different worlds.
totally. One of
So,
my closest friends, a photographer in town named Brooke Stevens, is from Evansville.
oh, really? Cool.
But I've never been there. I know there's a casino there. I'm pretty
There is.
sure I've
It's a boat. It's a river boat.
a river.
You can go.
That is
You can
awesome.
bring a bunch. I don't know. I mean, they used to have penny slots. I don't know if it's like where you still can do that, but
Yeah.
yeah, if you want a cheap and affordable weekend away, you
Yeah.
can go to Evansville and
So I
enjoy
grew up.
yourself.
I grew up going. I'm from like Philadelphia area, so and
Yeah.
I'm an Italian guy, so we obviously grew up going to the Jersey Shore all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we still go every year. And it's South Jersey, just like you said, South and North. North Jersey is where the show was filmed, and very much that. South Jersey is awesome and beautiful,
Okay.
and everyone should go. In this past year, my siblings and our significant others and we just decided we were all gonna go to the Atlantic City casinos, which
okay.
are kind of a sad place.
Yeah.
But we had we were like, because none of us know anything about my one future brother-in-law like knows a little bit about gambling. He thinks he knows about gambling. He knows he knows how to lose $100 in about 45 minutes.
I do too. I'm very gifted in that way.
Not even probably 45 seconds, honestly.
Yeah.
Anyways, we decided we were all gonna pitch in $20, but we had to spend it like one at a time. So everyone had to like root for each other at each machine that they picked.
Yeah.
And we all wore like insane clothes, like bucket hats and like open shirts and bathing suits and flip. It was amazing. And next to us, my wife was playing like the big buck machine or something. I forget what it was called, but it was some like animal themed thing. Next to us, the guy won $17,000.
Wait, what?
It was wild.
That's insane.
We lost every single one of us lost our $20, but it was wild to see someone actually win.
Yeah,
a huge. That you think that they're all just rigged and never going to do that.
Yeah.
But
did you grow up going to Cape May at all?
I love Cape May. One of the most beautiful towns in the country.
So all of my wife's family is from Philadelphia area.
No way.
Yeah. Is Westchester like one of the suburbs?
That's the town I grew up in, man. Yeah.
Are you serious?
I swear.
That is where my father-in-law grew up, like in row houses, and I'm almost positive. I mean, that it was Westchester. So
do you know where he went to high school? I have to know.
I don't. I can find out later. He went to Penn State, but
my whole family went to Penn State. Yeah, man.
Are you serious? Okay. Yeah.
So you're Indiana and she's Westchester, and then we're the opposite.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild.
So it's really weird. She grew up in Pennsylvania, but her dad in the 90s, he worked in healthcare. Like he was a CFO for like radiology. So whenever Heather was like 6 or 7 or so, he got a job in Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, wow.
So they all moved to Birmingham. So she is a New Englander who was raised in the South. So very, very unique. And we went to Belmont. So that's how we met, in Nashville, Belmont. Yep. But so Cape May actually has a special story for us.
Yeah.
We told them that we were pregnant at Cape May.
No way.
And our daughter's middle name is May after Cape May.
No way. Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I have definitely flown into Philly, hopped in a van, drove the 2 hours or something like that to get to Cape May, played some skee ball on the boardwalk, eating some fudge, all that good stuff. Yeah.
We grew up going to Ocean City and Sea Isle City.
Okay.
Sea Isle City is where all the old Italians used to go and still go, I think. But yeah, wow, that is such a great Cape May story. We went there once. Speaking of COVID, during 2020, we really didn't do anything. Like the whole spring and summer, like we were just so cooped up. Like my wife and I were like, we have to go we're dying. Like this is not it.
Yeah.
So Labor Day weekend, we looked up, where can we go? And we found this Airbnb in Cape May that was like allowing people. And we brought the dog, drove the thing and my parents came, we had to like, but it was one of the most fun weekends. We like my mom cooked us dinner. My parents are amazing cooks and they just like cooked dinners. We hung on the beach. It was like I think it was like 5 days, but we needed it. It's one of those vacations that you needed so bad that it wasn't crazy special or extravagant, but it was just like so refreshing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's a great place.
Is your family, I mean, I already assumed from your last name that you're Italian,
Yeah.
But to know that you're from Philadelphia area, I'm assuming did you grow up Catholic? Are you like
Oh
full
yeah,
Italian?
dude. Yeah. Come on, dude. Yeah.
I'm just assuming. So
Yeah.
that's
The way, the truth, and
fantastic.
the light, or whatever they say. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That is, we'll just do the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
cross
No,
ourselves.
man. Yeah. It's an amazing way to grow up in like a giant Italian Catholic family, and
Yeah.
I truly thought that everybody had that,
No.
and no, and growing up, I mean, my mom's one of 7, my dad's one of 4.
Yep.
I have like 1,000 cousins,
Yep.
and my cousins, like, I'm closer to some of my cousins than people are with their siblings. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
and I don't take that for granted. I think for a while I did take that for granted. And
Yeah.
moving here, I was the first one to leave the suburbs of Philly, like, of anyone. They've been in there. My family's been there for 100 years. So like no
Yeah.
one has really left. A couple of people in South Jersey. One relative lives in Ohio, but
Yeah.
other than that, like, that's, So, it was a huge deal for me to move to Nashville.
Yeah.
Like like, I could be overblowing it because it was me, you know what I mean? But I've been here 7 years, and when I was leaving, like, people were like, "What are you do? Like, what are you? How is this? Like, what are you hoping happens? Like, because everyone it's like that immigrant mentality that I get. I mean, I have it too. Like, the anxiety of, like, everyone needs to go to school, get a job, behave, do, just check all the boxes and try to, like, make a life, you know what I mean? And and I understand that. I mean, I still, I miss home, and I there's things about it that I really, just miss, but it's I was definitely gonna be the guy who turned 40 and was like, if I would have put my mind to it, I could have made some of this music thing. I had every opportunity, and I blew it, and I have this job, and then I take it out on my kids for some reason, and I make them play baseball, and they hate baseball, and I make them play guitar, and they hate guitar, and it's like, I knew I was gonna be like that if I didn't at least give, like, the try. And also I went to college at Temple University, which is in Philly. Yeah. I hadn't left home really. I lived in the city, but it was still, I was 20 miles from my parents' house. So I needed to, like, spread my wings a little bit. And I just, I kind of fell in love with Nashville on, like, a kind of a whim. And I decided the worst thing that could happen was I could just drive back.
Pretty much. Yep.
That was my worst case scenario, and that didn't seem that bad. So I just went for it.
That's kind of how we feel about, like, our move to Denver, of, like, sometimes you just have some unrest in you, and you're like, I kind of want to, I don't know exactly it is what I need to do. I feel drawn to this. I want to try this out. What if it fails? Then I know that I failed, and then I just move back, and, and you'll figure it out. But I think, especially, I think this can relate to parenting as well, of, like, you just take people on the journey with you. So, like, whenever it comes to your kids, you're not going to do the right thing. You're going to take chances. You're going to make mistakes. So I think the most important thing to do as your kid gets older and they can understand words is to just explain to them, like, hey, we tried this. We thought this would work. We were right. We were wrong. And here's how we feel about it. And I would rather go through things together as a family than have that weird angry energy of, like, we're doing this because I need to do this. And you're like, you're disrupting so many lives. Talk about why you think, like, talk about, like, hey, we want to try things. We want to explore. We want to experiment with something. And then walk your kids through what that actually looks like.
Yeah. I'm hoping, I mean, I'm hoping when I do lose my temper, I have the ability to apologize to my kids and talk to them like adults. I feel like my parents are really good about talking to us like people and not, they really didn't, like, talk down at us or, like, I see parents do that. And that really, like, how is that kid not? How is that not going to affect that kid? Like, that doesn't feel good to me, and I'm just watching it.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yep. It's this weird distinction of, are you trying to raise a child or are you trying to raise an adult? So, but you're also constantly trying to figure out, like, at what level do you communicate with your kids so they can understand? You're trying to meet them at their comprehension level, but also treat them with respect at the same time. So it's very easy to treat them like a child at all times because they are a child, but also, I'm with you. Whenever I hear someone talk, like, in the, hey, buddy, like that upper range voice, I'm like, oh, I'm judging you. Okay.
I feel like it's all about what your kids need to. If
Yeah,
your kids respond to that, I guess. And
I
I'd
get
speak.
it.
And again, I'm speaking as someone who doesn't have a kid that understands English yet. She just started saying "dad, dad," and she has no idea what it means. But
Nope.
uh, I appreciate it from my parents and my aunts and uncles too. Like along with my cousins that I'm all really close to. Like I had so many sets of parents, basically. Like
Yeah.
I always say that I'm so lucky that from like the Philly airport to my parents' house, there's like 150 places I can just walk into like a dinner table and it would
Yeah.
be like totally normal. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And I thought that was kind of what everybody
Yeah.
experienced.
Nope.
So yeah, I feel like I feel like those challenges of parenting, I'm gonna lean on my friends and my family and be like, did I mess up here? And hopefully, when I do mess up a little bit,
Yeah.
I can like apologize, talk to my
Yeah.
kids like adults, I guess.
Yep. I mean, I feel like you feel the unrest within your own self. Like whenever you have the moment in which your voice is a little bit louder, a little bit more shriller than you think it should be. And it's more just reminding yourself it always matters to go back and discuss it again. Or to like cuz
Totally.
it's like it to me it's not just like apologizing, it's also explaining what happened. So like to go up to your
Yeah.
kid and be like, "Hey, whenever I raise my voice like this is what I was thinking about. I shouldn't react in that way." But just so you know, sometimes you have 20 things happening at once, and then this happens, and then you react in a way that you shouldn't. So I'm sorry. Here's why I did that. I shouldn't have done that, and I'm sorry that I did that. And
Yeah.
next time, I'll try to be better.
Does your 8-year-old like understand that?
She does very much so.
That's probably because she's a
Yes.
girl. All of us were so dumb until like 26.
Oh, good. You assumed I got smart and paid attention at some point in time. I appreciate it.
From like 5th grade through 25, they should just keep boys in like a box because they're the dumbest people on planet Earth.
It's just that like all I wanted to do from 4th grade until senior year of high school was probably play Tony Hawk Pro Skater or Zelda games in friends' basements, and I didn't know why anything else needed. Like I had Super Smash Brothers and I had pizza rolls. What else did I need in my life?
I completely 100% understand.
Do you feel like in Nashville you found a community in which you feel like you can like rely on people, or you can be that close knit kind of what like you grew up with?
I do. I was very lucky. I moved here at the same time as a bunch of people. And I stumbled into hosting this show called Revival that was used to be at Tin Roof. And it just I mean I was there every Tuesday for 3 or 4 years. So like I met 12 new people every single week basically. So
cool.
I lucked into it, and right now I'm like in the middle of like 6 of my friends having girls.
Yeah.
So it's wild. There's 2 like on our street basically, and then one as a boy. But most of us have kids like from 2 years ago to like this next year. So yeah, I feel like I have a good, I am one of my only cousins that I'm the only cousin that has kids so far.
Oh, okay.
Which is wild. I'm on the older like set of all of that. But yeah, as far as family, we don't have a ton. My wife's family has a good amount of kids, but yeah, my like what they call like chosen family here is all over the map. Like again, I'm in the middle. I have friends that are 23 and friends that are 45, and I'm kind of like right in the middle of all that. So I have friends that have middle schoolers, and looking at like you're talking about schools in Nashville and stuff, and looking at how they got their kids to the right place and how the different options in your area. Like I'm taking notes on all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I've also had a million side jobs over the years. I mean, everything you could think of.
Okay.
So my network, I feel like is beyond music in a way that is healthy. Like I feel like I know regular people too that aren't insane.
who aren't just like, yeah, you go to your job, you play a gig at 10 p.m., you go to bed at 3 a.m., and then that's normal, right?
Yeah.
That's what normal people do.
Yeah. Well, your wife does everything else.
Basically.
Yeah. But I feel like I have, and my wife's not in music, so I feel like I have a very healthy amount. And for me, some people can be in it all the time.
Yeah.
I need to like next weekend. So next week I am in the studio. I have photo shoot all day. One day I have like a show and then 2 writing sessions on the same day, and like it's crazy. But then like Thursday, we're going to Indiana for 3 days, and no one even asked me about my job. I just show up. I hang. We hang out with the baby. They're having like a housewarming party for my brother and sister-in-law. Perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need that 3 days just as much as I need the 4 days of like crazy, in it time. So I think it keeps me grounded for sure.
Sweet. And to like confirm, are you like a singer, songwriter, musician? Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Sweet. And so like whenever, go ahead, sorry.
No, I've singer, songwriter, and I play guitar for some people too. So it just depends on the day.
Yeah. But I would assume like next week you're probably, because you're in the process of like writing a new album and doing all that stuff, right? Yeah. So like next week you are the focus. So like 100%. It's like, hey Vinny, how do you play this song? What did you write? What do you want? Like you're the center of attention, for lack of a better way to put it, for like most of next week. So to be like, hey, by the way, a lot of other people exist besides you in the world. It's a very healthy thing to be reminded.
100%. 100%. We're going to Indiana to cheer for my sister-in-law in the Indy Marathon. Yes. They're having a housewarming party where you're helping out for it. Like it's totally that spotlight being completely not on. Like I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I like the spotlight. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing this.
It's not bad,
but it's so nice to have. I was saying this the other day. Somebody was asking me a favorite part about being a dad so far, and there's like a million answers, but one of the answers that came to mind that I don't know if it's my favorite, but something I like about being a dad is the tangibility of certain things. Like I've been playing guitar since I was 10 years old. I've been trying to do this professionally. I'm 30, 10 years ish, maybe 8 years ish. Like I've been really trying to do this like for real. And there's these like little wins, but mostly it's like I make all this stuff and then like I think it went well. Like there's no like nobody comes to your house and is like, hey, just so you know, like you're in now. Like you made it. Like great job. But when I'm sitting here like making breakfast for baby, it's like I made something. I did something with my hands that is directly impacting someone else. Like right here. Like it's all happening like right in front of me. And it's so like fulfilling in a way that is so like stupid simple, but it makes it makes the other stuff feel not less important, but less like overwhelming, I guess. It's like it brings everything down to like just make something and then like do what you can with it, I guess.
I mean, as someone who listens to too much music and is a music snob, the reality of like, if someone's like, why do you like that song? I'll be like, oh, it just felt authentic to me. It's like, cool. What's your metric for authenticity? I don't know. It changes from song to song.
No idea.
And now you as a creator, I'm telling you to entertain me and impress me.
Yeah.
And you're like, all I can do is write a song that feels true to me and record it in the best way I know how to. And if you like it and it connects, awesome. If not, I'll try again later. Oh, you might not pay me to do this. Well, shit.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah. And the things that you're doing might not be authentic until 10 years after you do them.
Yep.
I mean, isn't it like Bukowski and all those writers, they died with nothing. And, 30 years after they, are living there, everything, pops off.
I mean, I think you could argue that like Elliott Smith wasn't really like fully discovered or appreciated until after he committed suicide.
Yeah.
There's a long, Nick Drake is a great example also, to keep with the super sad people. There's a long list of musicians. I think even Van Gogh was like that, where they were prolific whenever they created. They just, no one cared.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second they died, everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Where was this guy the entire time? Or like, I like Kurt Vonnegut a lot, and like he didn't get recognition until like his fifth novel. And you can
Yeah.
find like interviews of him where he's almost like for his first four novels or whatever, being like, I'm writing stuff as good as these people. Why doesn't anyone care? And then like, luckily he had his moment. Then I'm just going on a huge tangent here.
No, I love it.
The National was like that also, because they were in Brooklyn in the early 2000s. So you had like Interpol, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. You had all these bands that sounded almost exactly like the National, but no one wanted to listen to the National until they released Alligator and then Boxer. So like you have years of people like creating music that's great, but like for some reason no one cares. And then there's just one day where everyone suddenly is like, oh, this is phenomenal. Have you been doing this the entire time? And you're like, sure. I don't know how to trust any of this. Like, what do I do with this?
Well, you have to ask yourself, are you doing it so people like you, or are you doing it for the art of it, you know? And it's hard because I mean, it's not like we didn't start playing guitar to try to meet girls. Like it's not, right? I can't pretend that wasn't part of it. You know what I mean? But also, you know, like that recognition, and just from your peers and from, you know, the attaboys that, like I said, are so few and far between. And, you know, Spotify sends you emails once a week about how many people are listening to your stuff. And like, there are certain seasons where it's like going down, because you just haven't put anything out in a while. And then certain seasons going up, and trying not to ride those waves in your own emotions. Like as if that matters that 22,000 people heard your song as opposed to 2,000 or 3 million, or like it's a wild way to live as an artist with all that information now. Before, like, I think before even 2000, really, there was no way to even track any of that. So like
not really.
I'm kind of jealous. Like I was listening to this podcast with Jackson Browne, who's one of my, you know, heroes.
Oh, we could discuss Jackson Browne for a long time.
Oh,
just so
man.
You know.
He's the best.
Wait, hold on. Let's just pause for a second.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Jackson Browne album?
Late for the Sky is probably my favorite front to back. But I will say he made 5 albums in the 70s, and I will put those 5 albums up against any other 5 albums of the 70s. And I don't think there's a better set from any artist.
Let's see. I think The Pretender is my favorite album of his.
It's a great
of
one.
all time, because I think just that last song is just, I mean, the self-titled track, The Pretender, is great. No, I grew up on a lot of Jackson Browne. He played the Ryman back in like 2012, 2013. And
I've heard about this show.
Yes, I went to that and like brought my parents tickets to it.
Is that the acoustic one where he had all the guitars lined up?
I think it's so. I know Sarah Watkins opened for him.
Yeah.
So Sarah and Sean Watkins came out and sang harmonies with him during his set. I just remember, like, there's some shows you sit there and you're just like, just be here, man. Don't pull out your phone. Don't record it. Just be here.
Just do it. Yeah.
Just be here. So, and we won't discuss Jackson Browne in the 80s because like every singer-songwriter in the 80s, too much cocaine, just some weird stuff. You don't know what's happening.
They were doing cocaine in the 70s too, but it really came to a head.
It didn't feed into how reverby all of their guitar parts were until the 80s, and it got too much. Anyway, back to you discussing Jackson Browne before I interrupted you.
No, I was listening to a podcast with him, and he said the shortest time it's ever taken him to write a song is a month.
Really?
And I was just like, man, I've written since I've been in Nashville just about 7 years, and I've written like 450 songs. Yeah. And most of those are in like, you're expected to finish it like that day. You know what I mean? Like, especially co-writing session, all that kind of stuff. That luxury of just being like, oh, I might work on a song today, or I might just like not.
I might. Let's think about it.
Like from the beginning, I mean, he started recording. He had a recording contract when he was 23 or whatever. And you know, I consider him to be jealous of Jackson Browne till the cows come home. But I envy that like freedom, you know, just like, and I don't even know very successful artists that feel that freedom now because there's so much competition. Is really what I'm saying. Even if you have all the money in the world and you don't need to make art, you still feel so compared to everything else that's going on. And fighting that has been the biggest challenge. I think that this year, other than, you know, learning how to be a parent, that has been the biggest challenge of this like season of Nashville, is like how do you like try to make something that people like without making something for the sake of people liking it?
Yep.
You know, it's a
And
wild
especially because
experience.
like if your income is tied to it also.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, like to some extent, like, yeah, I don't know. And I
Yeah.
think to some
Like you're supposed to have all these answers for me, and so far you got
yeah, yeah,
nothing. It's brutal.
I think when I told you to come on the podcast, I specifically said it'll be a contemplative episode,
Right.
not a you now have purpose in your life
Oh
episode.
Jesus,
So
man, I came to the wrong spot.
oh yeah, sorry. I can try to be a Rick Rubin too and bullshit you about creativity if you want, but I don't think that would work out too well.
I had this moment. I don't know. This was probably 2 or 3 months ago, and overall, like I'm very grateful and happy for how my life works.
Yeah.
I really there's not very many things I would change about my life.
Yeah.
I have supportive family and all this kind of stuff, but I was just having a day where like everything within like music industry world was just not happening for like a month. Every meeting I try to set up like would get canceled last minute. Every pick a thing that you really want to happen, like just missed. Like, oh man, like we applied to all these shows and they didn't work out and blah blah blah. Then you won't get back to me, this person, whatever. And like I have an amazing therapist that I only go to like once a month or so. And I was like, I could use a therapy thing. And I sent my therapist an email and I got an out of office till 3 weeks later email back. And I was like, oh my God, like this is great. Like, this is crazy. And it's obviously not his fault. He was on a planned vacation.
No, of course not. Yeah.
But I was hysterically laughing like in my car when I saw the email come through. I was like, oh my God, I am invisible. I am completely invisible.
To everyone.
Yeah, but then you go home and like your baby's trying to say dad, 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 and it's like, all right, everything's all right.
Yeah. I think what we do with the dissonance that exists in life is always like a fascinating study. So you do have days like that in which like everything you try to do for yourself professionally, creatively just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And why? Because it's just the not to be too hippie, it's just the energy that day. For some reason, we all just have a cloud. There's a month in which just like, did anything work this month? No. Okay, cool. Now you go home and see your kid. Your kid is just joyful that you're there. And you're like, I just went from a day that crushed my soul, and now my soul is very uplifted. I'm assuming that means my values are correct because my child is lifting me up. Yep. But also, a lot of today sucked.
Yeah. One of those days is a saying for a reason. It's just one of those days.
Just one of those days. Just happens. Something in the ether. Before we start wrapping down and everything, what do you have like any questions about fatherhood or anything like that? You seem like you're someone who's curious and wants to ask questions. You can make it sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Oh wow.
I don't.
This is why I should prepare for stuff like this.
Man, what's the ether telling you? What's the universe telling you?
When you see your kids are good at something, how do you motivate them without being like pushy, I guess?
Yeah, I think the only thing I know to do is ask them about how they feel about the moment that happened. Yeah, because that's, to me, I'm a stubborn person. Yep. And unless I see something, I usually won't follow through on it. Yeah. So that's normally what I do. Like my oldest daughter really likes ballet. Mm-hmm. So I will be very much like, hey, you seem like you like ballet a lot. Talk to me about that. Mm-hmm. What do you like about it? How do you like it? Because like ultimately that's what you're trying to figure out. Like, do you like this? Does this bring you joy? Because if it does, then like I want to invest more into this. But if I just start walking up to you and saying I'm investing more into this, it changes the energy. And I don't know. I personally think if you can figure out how to make it theirs instead of yours, if that distinction makes sense, it's kind of what it is. Because like I play guitar, I have pianos around and all that good stuff. And I just try to keep that open as like, all right, kids, if you want to play the guitar, play the piano, here it is, come play it and all that. But like, and then after they play it for all, I'll be like, hey, do you want to take lessons? Do you want me to teach you stuff? And then they just go, nope. And I'm like, cool. Now I know if I say, here's how you do this, there's a fine line between I want you to do this and like you want to do this. So it's a weird thing to figure out. I mean, I want my kids to be able to play guitar. I want them to know basic piano chords, but I don't think any of them care enough to want to do lessons. So like, I still want them to have that desire and to want that because it's really fun to express yourself through playing instruments.
100%, yeah.
But I can't similar to like if someone doesn't like, if someone can't write poetry, to be like, here's how you express yourself through poetry. They're going to look at you and be like, cool, I'm glad that's a thing that exists, and then go do something else.
Yeah.
So I don't know when, I think it's really important to try to create a safe space for your kid, because just like as an adult, you don't necessarily know what you're feeling and know how to express it. So you might have a moment and then you're like, but it's hard to know how to put what that moment felt like into words. So I'm hopeful that I'm creating, or that my wife and I are creating spaces for our kids in which whenever they experience something new, they can like feel it, dissect it, and then express it. Because the ability to express what you feel and what you believe in is like the most important thing you can learn how to do in your life.
Yeah, that's a great answer, man. That's so true. And I feel like no matter what that expression is, trying to nurture that instead of the actual result, I guess.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
It does. No, it's really hard because in America and a Western culture, we are pretty much all results driven and results focused. And what was the end result here? And it is very easy to forget what your intentions were going into it because of what the end result was.
Yeah. I mean,
And
as an adult, we struggle with that stuff too.
Yeah, man. Yep. Nope. I think it is. If you want to, I usually explain it like this for full nerdy audio engineer study, is I do the signal flow for it. So like, what was the source? What was the intention you had for this? Here's how it ended up. And what was your messaging to get there? What was the path you took to get there? Because I think intentions are normally good, but end results get polluted by the signal flow that it took to get there. So how do you convince your kids to know that like, hey, your intentions are really good, but how you express this hurt people? Yeah. Like what you wanted to do was good, but what you ended up doing wasn't the way to go about it.
Yeah. So are you saying that me singing Suck My Kiss by the Red Hot Chili Peppers at my 11th grade talent show was hurting people and that I shouldn't have expressed myself in that manner?
You know, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if someone would have been, actually, let me think. What's the best way to BS this answer? No.
It was a dare, and we shouldn't have done it, but we did it anyway.
That's pretty awesome.
It was not awesome. It was very awkward, but
it was extremely awkward.
Yeah, it was awful. I was just reminded of it when I was in Denver last week. Was really? What made me think of it. Okay. I was in Denver twice in like a month, like August, September. And my friend who was in that band with me was like, don't you remember like we did the talent show in 11th grade? I was like, honestly, I blacked that out. Like what did we do? Like, and he's like, the Red Hot Chili Peppers song. I was like, oh my God. It all came back like all in that moment.
That's awesome.
So bad.
But in that moment, I would tell you, your intentions were good to entertain people and be ridiculous and get a reaction. However, don't be an idiot. But I don't know. I mean, like, well, I'll try.
It didn't hurt anybody, I don't think.
It didn't hurt anyone that you know. I'll try to take this deeper. I mean, like, I think our generation was raised, like, I mean, I grew up and went to a Lutheran K through 8th grade. If you grew up in a Catholic home, like it's a lot of religious homes don't teach you that you are inherently good. That like, hey, you're actually a good person. A lot of it can be interpreted more as like, hey, you kind of need Jesus to save your life and it's your fault. So I have a big value on like looking at kids and being like, hey, you are inherently good. You might do things that hurt people, but you are inherently good. Because if you don't start from the point of you are good, you will do things out of shame, guilt, and loneliness usually. And I've never done anything I'm proud of when I do it out of shame, guilt, or loneliness.
Yeah. I definitely understand that. And my parents, to their credit, are better about that than I know. I have friends that grew up in in environments like that, but it's such a hard thing to know the right thing to do because there's no right answer for anything.
There isn't. Nope.
Because your family growing up in religion, I mean, if you're growing up in a religious household, like they're not doing any of that out of like hatred for you most of the time. You know, I'm sure there's cases where it's whatever.
Yeah. But like there's always outliers.
Yeah, like they're doing that because they think that's what's best for you. Yep. And that's what scares me is me having the best intention in the world and still blowing it, like totally blowing it.
Pretty much. No, because I mean, like to me, the basis of all religion should be humility, because you look at the world and go, oh, my interpretation of all of this existence is lacking. Oh, look,
Yeah.
here's a Bible, here's a whatever,
Yeah.
and here's how I gain meaning of like the universe and everything and appear to a higher purpose.
Mhm.
So that's a pretty good intention. That's for the usually that it comes out of humility and leads to good intentions, but sadly it doesn't always do that. So I just very much, I think if you want your kid to believe in humanity, you have to first teach them that they are a human that's worth knowing and loving.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a perfect place to start.
So, or usually I feel like you kind of have to have that baseline before you trust that anyone else would be too.
Yeah. I went to this wedding near Denver in Beaver Creek, Colorado.
Yeah.
Amazing resort. One of my wife's best friends got married there this summer. And,
that's cool.
And her dad gave the best wedding speech I've ever heard. It was 25 minutes long, but I like usually at weddings you're like, okay, we just want to drink, like whatever. But I could listen to him talk for another, hour, seriously. And my favorite thing he said is what you put into your kids is what they put into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, God damn, dude, that is so. And it was his only daughter, and he's obviously just adored her from the beginning and just tried everything. And she's like the best. She's one of my favorite people. But that'll stick with me forever. From the whole weekend, that's probably what I'll remember the most is him saying that, because it felt so real to me. And we had just had the baby, the whole thing. So,
I mean, it makes you constantly reevaluate. I always tell people, like, one thing you don't realize until you have a kid is that whatever you define as normal is what you then pass on to your child that they will then think is normal. So you have to be aware of what you are okay with, what you're not okay with, because regardless of if you are intentionally saying it out loud to your kid or not, how you treat people, how you act, how you think about things, how you say things out loud is what your kid will think is normal.
Yeah, totally.
And that's terrifying and encouraging all at the same time.
Oh, man.
So, on that note, how we end all of our episodes is we ask every guest the same 5 questions. So, first question, did you have any backup names for your kid? Like names you almost named them?
Yes. Our daughter's name is Birdie, which we love. My last name makes it tough because it's kind of long.
Yeah.
So there were a bunch of P names that were like just didn't like. What was one? Poppy Paolizzi? Not it.
Yeah, it doesn't flow.
Not it. It was a couple other ones. Not Elizabeth, but something that's like Isabel or something. But Izzy Paolizzi, like you can't do that. That's not it. There's a couple other ones that we might consider. I truly can't remember, but her name's Birdie Jane, and Jane is a family name for my wife's family, and I love that we found something that's a little bit unique, but still a name. Some people go a little too far on the unique scale. Yeah, it's like that's not a real name.
That's not a real name. Those are just sounds that came out of your mouth.
I know. And like the parents, like you look at the parents, you're like you named your kid Smoke? Like what? There's a kid. That's his name.
His name is Smoke?
I heard a kid at daycare the other day. His name's Swisher.
Swisher.
That's a kid's name.
Does he have a broom? Does he have a broom with him at all times?
Why are you doing that to him? Don't do that.
No.
That's so inconsiderate.
My name is Devin with an O, so most of the time
that's how I would say Devin.
See,
that's how I would spell it.
I is normally the way it's spelled.
Yeah.
So like I've had moments in which there's one time I worked a factory job and like you put that your name was posted and I walked up to the spot and the guy was like, "Are you Devin?" And I was like, "Yes." And he was like, "I thought you were going to be black." And I was like, "What do I do with this comment?" What do you think the follow-up to this is? Or like, I'm a 6'4" white guy from Indiana. So like I'll go to the pharmacy and they'll be like, "Devon," and then I show up. And I'm just like, "Hey guys."
That's kind of awesome, actually.
I am not what you expected, but I am here to pick up my prescription.
That is awesome.
So names are important, and I blame my parents consistently. There we go. That's the
man. It took us an hour to get to I hate my parents.
That's just for that. That was the building block that just destroyed everything with the relationship.
Perfect.
Second question: do you have a favorite TV dad?
Oh, TV dad. Red Foreman from That 70s Show is pretty solid. I'm sure you get that one all the time.
Actually, not as much as you would think, but Red Foreman is a hilarious TV dad.
He go like, my foot, your ass. he's like, what do you think is gonna happen? He's like, I don't know. He's like, my foot, your ass. They said it all the time.
I forget. I feel like there's one. He was just so perfect. He was like, if that was actually your dad, that would be probably emotionally damaging. But like, as a TV dad, it's perfect because he'll just be like, well, you're a dumbass because you're being a dumbass. Like he has like nothing.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He clearly loved and cared about his kids, but like he just at the same time did not care for anything.
Carl Winslow. I'm gonna do honorable mention. Carl Winslow from Family Matters.
Yep.
And Frank Barone from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yep.
Has probably made me laugh the most as a TV dad.
Yep.
Because that old Italians like living across the street, the whole like I totally understand where like that whole world.
It felt too real.
I mean, my parents have an apartment down the street. I told you that.
Yeah, you did. No, it's real. It's pretty real. That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyways.
Next question. You might not, since you only have like a 7-month-old, this might not apply yet. Do you have a least favorite kids show or like any kids show out there? Like whenever someone talks about it or comes on, you're just like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh. No, not we like you were saying, we try to do as few screens as possible. Sometimes, I mean, you just there's no options. She watched a lot of baseball because the Phillies were good this year, so we were, and with sports we were a little bit more lenient on it because she's just watching sports.
Yeah.
But the Miss Rachel stuff, I know it's good for them, but I don't love that baby voice that she does.
Nope.
Nope. I know that it's educational, and she loves. I mean, if I need 15 minutes to like do a call or something, like I mean, once every couple days, like if I need to do that, she's totally cool. But no, I don't have like this. I can't stand this show.
Yeah, cool. You'll find it.
Oh, I'm sure
it'll come.
It'll come. Sure.
I feel like it's more when they get older, like whenever they're trying to watch like teenager stuff.
Oh yeah,
or like more Disney show stuff, and you're just like, the music is bad, the choreography is bad. I have strong opinions about Disney daytime television. Here I am.
Yeah, there you go. You never thought that'd be a big part of your life.
Never thought. Next question. Do you have a favorite kids toy or activity? Like whenever you play it with your daughter, you actually enjoy doing it and it's a lot of fun?
She just doesn't. She doesn't play a lot yet.
Yeah, because she's so little.
This, we on our registry, my wife put this like jogging stroller, and I was like, "Do we need this? Like, are we ever going to use this?" It is awesome. We go to Shelby Bottoms, the park, and can run on that trail, and it's like a roller coaster to her. She like truly like she laughs, like she's having a blast doing it.
Yeah.
So that's been really fun to like take her and go on little adventures and stuff, kind of with her.
That's awesome.
But we don't have any like interactive toys yet, really.
I will do some shameless self-promotion. We do try to do dad walks every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. at Shelby Bottoms.
Oh, no way.
A bunch of dads meet up in front of the like nature center area.
Yeah.
And then just go on a walk, maybe just walk around, deal with their kids as they scream and have tantrums and eat snacks, and then go on our way. So
that's really cool.
Yeah. I'll send you, we have like an Instagram account for it.
Yeah.
I'll send that to you so you can follow it if you can ever make it out for one.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But yeah. Last question. Moment of your kid's life you're most excited to be a part of?
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel like, speaking of weddings, like my wedding was such a fun thing to like share with my parents. Like I think they just had such a blast doing it, and I didn't really think much about weddings, to be honest with you. I had been to like one or two. I didn't go. I've only probably been to 10 weddings in my life, maybe 15, and I just hadn't thought about it really. But seeing how happy that week made them, like I'm excited to share that with my daughter one day.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
and that's cool. I think weddings can be very fun, and it's just an opportunity to throw a huge party where you celebrate someone.
Celebrating them for just like who they are. Like it just. That's what it felt like to me. It wasn't like, hey, you did the baseball game. You did the like great job. Like congrats. It was like, it's just like, hey, we're here. We're gonna throw you some money. We want to celebrate you. You've been this great kid. We want to help you. I don't know. I'm just excited to like do that thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We also always end the episode with an opportunity just for like self-promotion. So
Oh
like if we
man.
want to find your music, if we want to follow
Yeah.
you on Instagram, all the good stuff, promote yourself.
Luckily, my name is hard to spell, but I'm the only one with it. So if you just look up my name on Instagram, it's just my name. If you look up my name on Spotify, it's just my name. And VINNIE PAOLIZZI. It usually comes up around Vinnie PA. It usually starts coming up. Vinnie Paul, the drummer from Pantera, and Vinnie Paz, a terrible rapper from South Philly, come up before me. But other than that, I'm like the next guy.
How do you pronounce your last name?
It's just how it looks. Paolizzi.
Paolizzi.
Yeah, you don't have to get scared of it. It's It's exactly how it looks.
Okay, because I'm gonna have to do the intro of like this week we have on Vinnie.
Nice. You can practice it a couple times.
You'll get the full NPR voice for the intro.
I love that.
But what about like new music? I know you're recording stuff. Do you have like timetable? Because you just released a single like the other week, didn't you?
Yeah. Cool. I'm kind of dragging this out a little longer than normal. I have 12 or 13 songs recorded. And it'll basically come out over the next year. Cool. There's 3 batches. The project is called Spaghetti Western. I'm trying to do like a country album, but obviously I'm Italian. So the artwork's really cool. I'm really excited about the whole thing, but it's going to be in like 3 volumes. So volume 1 comes out over the next like 3 months, and then a little break, and then volume 2 and volume 3. So yeah.
Nice.
I really appreciate you having me on, man. This was really fun.
Yeah, man. Sincerely, it's really lucky to be able to just meet up with dads and talk about their life, hear about their experiences and stuff. So thanks for wanting to be a part of it.
Dude, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys reaching out. And I will look for you next time I'm in Denver.
Yeah, man. Please do. And we'll talk to you next time, Vinny.
See you, Devon.
Oh, dang it.
Thanks so much for listening. Please make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Nashville Dads. And make sure to follow us on anywhere you find your podcast. And please give us a 5-star rating. And thank you to Matt Oakes for providing the music for the episode. Catch you next time.